Hello everybody, welcome to the Centbee Show. I'm your host, Lorien Gamaroff, and my co-host is Kage, the original Ntshingila. Kage, welcome to the show. How are you doing, Kage?
Good yourself, man.
I'm great.
Yeah.
Last week's show we did On the Trail of Satoshi.
The Trail of Satoshi.
There was this HBO documentary that we dissected.
Yeah.
We did a bit of a review. Go and check that episode out because it goes to a very important thing. This idea of who is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
Who is the real Satoshi Nakamoto? And the HBO documentary pinpoints a couple people, a couple cypherpunks who they think that could be Satoshi Nakamoto, and then of course they overlook mostly
The real one.
yes, who we believe is the real Satoshi Nakamoto, Dr. Craig Wright. So if you're really interested in finding out who is Satoshi, if you want to go and learn more about what that HBO documentary, Money Electric, what it's all about, check out that episode on the Trail of Satoshi, and you're going to come a little bit closer to understanding and finding out who is the real Satoshi. But in this episode, Kage, we're not going to be talking about who is Satoshi Nakamoto,
Yeah.
but what did Satoshi Nakamoto create?
Yeah.
Now, of course, everybody knows, if you're watching this show, that Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin.
The original version.
Yes,
Yeah.
but Bitcoin isn't Bitcoin these days, right?
A whole lot of copycats and bootlegs out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's quite hard these days to understand and know what is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody seems to know if you look at the news media and you check out all the billboards and the ads from all these exchanges, they seem to know what Bitcoin is and they call it BTC.
More like they assume to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the BTC isn't the only version of Bitcoin out there, nor is it the version that sticks to Satoshi Nakamoto's design for Bitcoin. And so what we want to do today is we want to talk about BTC and the other versions of Bitcoin, and a very interesting idea that Bitcoin BTC is actually passing itself off as Bitcoin. Now, of course, that term is a legal term.
Yeah, I wanted to say that already that sounds like it's illegal because you can't do that. You can't imposter and then think you can leverage off that.
Yes, there are many cases out there in the world where companies have created something that is rather similar to a competing product.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just think about Coca-Cola, for example, if you go and make a new soda and it tastes like Coke and it looks like Coke, and you call it Coke, it's not Coke.
And in most cases, Richie, I mean, like these ripoffs are never like to the T, like in terms of detail, because the taste, I don't think they can even get it right.
Yes.
It may look like Coke, even the branding and all, but it doesn't taste like Coke.
It doesn't taste like Coke, but the important thing here is that if you go and call that new beverage you've made Coca-Cola,
That's where the problem starts.
well, now you are pretending that your product is Coca-Cola.
That is passing it off, right?
That is what is passing off. And so there's a problem with BTC, is that BTC is passing itself off as Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now, what the heck do we mean by that? And that's what we're going to dive into now
Yeah.
to explain. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time, and I mean, this show is all about trying to explain to people what Bitcoin is, what Satoshi Nakamoto intended when he created Bitcoin, what his goals were. And of course, that vision is long lost, it seems. It's kept alive on the Centbee Show.
Yeah. Like we always say, Mr. G, we have to, as Satoshi soldiers, this is the vision that we believe in. So we have to keep it pumping and get everyone involved and school everyone about the real protocol.
That's right. We are not all Satoshi, but we all can be Satoshi soldiers.
Straight up.
Yeah, so let's get into this now. This is a very interesting idea, and it's not just that there is BTC out there. There's BSV, which is what Centbee uses in our wallet, and the Bitcoin that we believe more closely follows the original design that Satoshi Nakamoto created when he published the white paper and he produced the software. There's other versions of Bitcoin out there. There's Bitcoin Gold, there's Bitcoin Cash, but the problem now is which one do we look at and say is the real Bitcoin, and does it matter? So we're going to dive into this whole idea of Bitcoin and BTC and find out, is BTC really Bitcoin, or is it just an overexpensive, costly, inefficient knockoff?
So yeah, Ms. G, I'm ready. Let's dive into it.
When Satoshi Nakamoto first published the Bitcoin white paper, the title of the Bitcoin white paper was Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, right?
Yeah.
It was meant to be something that could have low-cost transactions. It was fast.
Yeah.
It was final, just like cash.
Yeah.
If you make a cash payment to somebody and you pay them, that transaction is final.
Settled.
That's what cash means.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can later go on and reverse like you would in a credit card transaction. When you make a credit card payment, then 60 days later, you can reverse that charge. You can charge it back. Some money gets spent on your credit card and it's not you can phone the bank and then they will reverse the payment.
Yeah.
But with cash, you can't reverse it. If I make a payment to you or a merchant and I want my money back, they have to send it back to me. They have to give it back to me.
Yeah.
I can't just click, reverse on that transaction. So this is what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to create. He wanted a cash system. So when you made a payment to somebody, it was sent to that person and they received it immediately and it was theirs.
Yeah.
And you can't go and reverse that payment. If you want your money back, you have to get that person to send it back to you.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome because it gives also the user more power in actioning the transaction versus just now your money disappeared in your account, you don't even know.
Yes, you actually make that payment.
It's an action. Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
a required action.
It's not like a debit order or something.
No. Yeah.
Exactly. It was also meant to be low cost.
Even the speed.
And the speed. You know, the idea of Bitcoin was that it was meant to scale massively.
Yeah.
It was meant to be supported by miners who have large data centers.
Yeah.
And what happens then is that they can have these enormous blocks and have millions, hundreds of millions, billions of transactions per second being pumped through the system at extremely low cost. And when we talk about low cost, we're talking about a tenth or a hundredth of a US cent.
Yep.
So this is what Bitcoin was devised to be. This system that could scale massively, reduce the cost of transactions, and it was cash, so it was final.
Yeah.
But that is not what BTC represents today.
People need to understand the aspect that it being cash, digital, like electronic peer-to-peer cash, meant that people can now also be sending each other money across the world at low fractions.
That's right. So you could be a remote worker somewhere in the middle of Africa, and you can have international clients and they can pay you without having to worry about expensive cross-border fees. Also, they can pay you in microtransactions. They can send you $1.
Because I wanted to say that, especially like when it comes to cross-border like transactions, you need to meet a certain cap in terms of fees or charges. But with BSV, we know there's no limits because it's super cheap and it's super efficient.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what Bitcoin was. That's how Satoshi created it. That's how he designed it.
Yeah.
But BTC has now become something different.
And you mentioning that, Mr. G, I'm like from the top of the dome, I'm going to be mentioning, Replace-by-fee as one of the issues because like you saying, Bitcoin was meant to be cheap.
Yes.
So this whole Replace-by-fee idea definitely like deviates from the original.
Yes. Now, Replace-by-fee, that was a technical change that was made to the Bitcoin system. One of the most important changes that really derailed this idea of Bitcoin as digital cash. Replace-by-fee was implemented by a guy called Peter Todd, who was recently on the HBO documentary zeroed in on as being a potential Satoshi Nakamoto candidate. BTC was becoming too expensive because of the small block sizes. A very important thing about BTC is that they have forced the block size cap or enforced it. They've made sure that the Bitcoin block size can't increase to support more transactions, meaning that there's only a limited number of transactions that can be processed in a block every 10 minutes. And so the BTC crowd was saying, look, we got a problem now because if you go and broadcast a transaction and you've put a low fee in there, the miners aren't going to want to process your transaction because they're going to be finding transactions to fit in that block that have higher fees.
It only makes sense. Why would you be wasting your time on low fees?
That's right. Miners need to make income, especially with the rewards decreasing every 4 years. And so Replace-by-fee was supposed to be a solution to that. The change to the Bitcoin protocol where once you've broadcasted a transaction and it's not being picked up by the miners, you can rebroadcast that transaction with a higher fee. And then hopefully the miner will then pick your transaction to go into the block.
Hopefully, like the keyword there.
Yes, as long as it's high enough. And that has ruined this idea of Bitcoin BTC being a low cost system because of these small blocks forcing those fees to become so high.
Yeah.
But also, very importantly, the replace-by-fee system now makes it that you can't just receive Bitcoin and it's final, like a cash transaction.
Yeah.
Because once you've submitted that transaction, you might be able to rebroadcast that transaction. And so the person receiving that Bitcoin transaction can't be confident that transaction is going to be received. It might get rebroadcast later on. So there's no settlement, there's no finality to those transactions.
Yeah.
And so this is a massive deviation away from the way Satoshi Nakamoto designed Bitcoin.
It really is, because it sounds like, a fee game more than anything. One of the major changes is also the Segwit.
Segregated witness is what it's called.
That was the true distinction of them not understanding what Satoshi meant in terms of having a transparent, traceable ledger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The idea of digital signatures is very well understood in law. If you sign a document and you sign it with a digital signature, that is recognized in law as being a real signature. And a very important thing about transactions is you have to sign them. And a signature is linked to an identity. If you want to now have a traceable system where every single transaction can be proven in law that it was created by a particular individual, it needs the digital signature. And so what the BTC crowd did to the Bitcoin that they then took over and started messing with is they said, we need to figure a way of squeezing more transactions into this tiny little 1 megabyte block. What are these signatures doing? They're adding so much volume into this block. If we were to just get rid of the signatures, now we can squeeze more transactions in. And this was another critical change made to Bitcoin. As soon as they implemented that change, BTC became something completely different from Bitcoin. Not only that, but now it has legal ramifications as well. These are incredibly important changes that have been made to the Bitcoin protocol, which are completely different from what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted and the way he originally devised Bitcoin. And so now we're sitting with BTC still calling itself Bitcoin, and yet it bears no resemblance apart from having a blockchain to the original Bitcoin protocol, and yet they still want to call themselves Bitcoin.
That's why I keep saying, G, that these guys are more bootlegs. That's all they're leveraging from. I mean, if we look at the white paper, they are nowhere adhering to that. Signatures, the fees, the block size, everything. Literally, this is not Bitcoin. Talking the symbol. And we know that the Bitcoin symbol is popular. Everyone is familiar with it. Even people that are not really clued up about the existence of other Bitcoins. They see the symbol as the only symbol that they recognize as the legit Bitcoin. How much weight does it hold?
Massively. I mean, if you think about people when they are trading crypto on these exchanges, they are just looking at symbols. And if you're on a stock exchange, when you're wanting to trade Apple, you're going to go look for the AAPL symbol or MSFT if it's Microsoft, Tesla, TSLA. These symbols represent the stocks on the exchanges.
They do,
and so when a person wants to go onto a stock exchange and they're looking at what to trade, they're going to look at these symbols. And that's how you identify uniquely what it is that you're trading.
We would essentially put it like an identity in a sense. And that holds a lot of weight. How people actually identify that symbol as.
When Bitcoin split into the different versions during the blockchain wars the crypto wars, the Bitcoin wars, there were two communities. There was the one community in Bitcoin who wanted to implement these changes that we've mentioned, the replace-by-fee, the segregated witness. They wanted to enforce the 1 megabyte block cap. And those people who are in that community, they represented all the popular cool kids. They were the social media influencers, but also the big investors. They are all heavily invested in BTC, and they were the prominent influencers. When the Bitcoin community split, the popular kids were on the side of the altered version of Bitcoin. And everybody knew that if they have to get a new symbol, then they're going to be considered an altcoin or an alternative cryptocurrency. And that means that the price would be just a fraction of what the original Bitcoin was. And so there was a massive fight over who gets to retain the symbol. The Bitcoin version split, but now, since you've got two versions of Bitcoin, they both need a symbol. Who gets to keep the original Bitcoin symbol, the BTC symbol? the one that everybody's trading on the exchanges. And it was amazing, but the changed version of Bitcoin, because the exchanges could see that's where all the prominent influencers were aimed at, they said, well, look, we don't want to mess with the market. We can see that the popular fork is this alternative version of Bitcoin, and they want to keep the BTC symbol. All right, so then we'll just let them retain that BTC symbol. And the version of Bitcoin that wasn't changed, in those days, the first time this happened, it was Bitcoin Cash. They had to find another symbol, and they used BCH. And so when people went onto the exchanges, they didn't look to see what the technology was. They just saw the BTC symbol, and they saw a brand new symbol there, BCH. Now, of course, everybody was calling it an alternative version of Bitcoin, an altcoin, and so BCH was just a fraction of the cost of BTC.
It really was,
But that's because people didn't understand that Bitcoin Cash at the time was the original Bitcoin, because the symbol had changed.
And that's what people need to understand clearly, Mr. G. It was more the ticker, the symbol changing, not the protocol.
That's right.
And the fork itself was also just distinguishing, people who really stood for the original protocol.
Yes. So even at that time, BTC, the symbol, was used to represent Bitcoin. And so people thought this BTC that we still see on the exchanges, it must still represent the original Bitcoin. Because they had no understanding about the technical changes. That's how BTC managed to stay the top dog, the one that everybody was investing in, and the one that's managed to get to the heights that it has in terms of price. The BCH version just ended up wallowing and disappearing in a way. But of course, that wasn't the end of the story. Then we all know what happened next. Bitcoin Cash split because one part of the community wanted to change it, and the other part of the community said, no, we keep it according to Satoshi's vision. And that's why we ended up with BSV. And Bitcoin SV, or Satoshi's version of Bitcoin, it's the only Bitcoin today that represents what Satoshi Nakamoto created, and is the only version of Bitcoin that can truly say that it is Bitcoin according to how the inventor described it and defined it in the white paper.
If we had a checklist here, BSV ticks all the boxes, Mr. G.
Yes.
We all know that for a fact.
Yes, and that's why we can say Bitcoin SV is the original Bitcoin, how Satoshi Nakamoto devised it. And that means all these other versions of Bitcoin that have changed, they no longer represent what Satoshi created. They are now pretending to be Bitcoin.
They really are.
They use the Bitcoin name, they use the BTC symbol, and yet they are not Bitcoin.
But Ms. G, that should be illegal. I mean, you can't just push an idea to the public, more especially, that this is what it is when it's not, because that's fraudulent in a sense.
Exactly, that's what everybody knows. If you are passing yourself off as something, and there have been very interesting cases in the past, not around crypto. There have been cases where, for example, there's a famous one called the champagne case.
One,
but there are others where companies have created products that were very similar to a competing product. And then what happened was the company who was distributing the original product, they then created a case and said, you guys are passing yourselves off as us. You are leveraging our reputation and all the effort and money that we've spent on marketing and growing our brand. You are now piggybacking on that and confusing people, making them think that your product is the same as ours, and now stealing our market share.
That's really what it is.
That's right. And so there have been many cases like this. But of course, in Bitcoin, this is now something that we've got to consider. That BTC is just, at the end of the day, not Bitcoin, but it's passing itself off as Bitcoin.
Ms. G, that is really uncomfortable, because when you're putting it like that, that means like a lot of people are tricked into believing that BTC is the original protocol, whether it's through investments or whether them purchasing it in hopes of it being a token that would probably be needed in the future.
Yes, absolutely. That's 100%. Nowadays, when people are investing in Bitcoin, they think, well, this must be what Bitcoin was. This is the groundbreaking innovation, the one that is going to democratize finance, make payments cheaper and global. All the wonderful things that people would talk about Bitcoin, all the amazing things that it can do, the fact that it can add value to businesses and create new business models. That's a lot of excitement around Bitcoin
Yeah.
that is now being stolen in terms of BTC, this product BTC. And people are investing in BTC thinking that they are getting this amazing groundbreaking innovation.
Yeah.
They're buying into it and they're part of the system. And meanwhile, as you say, it's just this expensive bootleg.
They're tricking them, Mr. G. This is illegal. So yeah, Mr. G, you know, when we're talking about the symbol, I guess also these influencers, we're talking like prominent figures like Michael Saylor. Those are the guys that literally push their influence. When they talking BTC, people think they are talking the original, but they are pushing the fake one.
All these prominent people out there, and it's not just Michael Saylor, but of course, even guys at BlackRock, Larry Fink, everybody on all the finance and news media, everybody out there is referring to Bitcoin. They keep talking about Bitcoin, although they are talking about BTC digital gold. And these people have a lot of weight. They have a lot of persuasion, a lot of influence. Just look at Michael Saylor. He has invested how many billions into BTC, and so he has a very important interest in people believing that BTC is Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like Google and Facebook. It's not like Apple and Amazon. Yeah. We can debate Apple or Amazon. What's better? They both look like tech monopolies to me. They both look pretty good. On the other end, Bitcoin or no, Bitcoin.
Now you might say, well, he doesn't know the difference, and that's probably true. He just is investing in BTC, thinking it's Bitcoin. He's now pushing this idea that BTC is Bitcoin.
I'm sorry, Mr. G, I refuse to think that he doesn't know.
He definitely knows there's different versions, but this is the version that he is invested in. And he has sunk a lot of money. He's bet the farm on BTC.
So either way, Mr. G, if that's the case, there's no plan B. You gotta stick to it. It's like he has a lot more to lose if he doesn't push that narrative.
Absolutely. So these guys, even guys like Max Kaiser, Larry Fink, and the 101,000 social media like crypto pundits and influencers, every one of these people are selling the story that BTC is Bitcoin, that it is groundbreaking technology, something that is going to transform the world. It's going to make us all rich if we just buy a couple sats. And this message is just being spread around the world. It's also being spread by the crypto exchanges, who obviously want people to trade cryptos. That's their business model, and want people to think that BTC is something that they can buy to invest in. So we have all these very prominent, very influential people, and they are selling this idea that Bitcoin is BTC. And of course they neglect the fact that BTC can't be used as digital cash. Of course, the whole story now that they are selling is that it's digital gold, because it's very apparent when you use Bitcoin BTC that it is not cash. It's expensive, and it's slow, and it's unreliable. So they can't keep talking about it as cash. They want to, on one hand, hide the Bitcoin white paper from people. They want people to stop believing in it as being cash. They want people to think of it as being digital gold. But they want to make sure that even though what they are selling is not Bitcoin as devised by the inventor, they still want to leverage off the name. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is special. There is this understanding that it is a groundbreaking technology. And so they still want to piggyback off that idea.
Definitely.
Even though what they have has got nothing to do with how Bitcoin was and its groundbreaking features.
It's nowhere close to the idea. In fact, it is hijacking, because it's a brutal takeover in a sense. Because when we look at everyone, Michael Saylor, Max Kaiser, and all of them, they never speak of what the original protocol speaks of, which is the utility side of things.
I mean, they will often talk about money, and they will talk about how money is broken. A very important theme when it comes to Bitcoin is this idea that these fiat currencies, these government issued or central bank issued currencies, that don't have any tied to anything of intrinsic value like gold.
Yeah.
They're saying, well, look, Bitcoin is a better form of money. It is scarce. That's kind of where they end, because there's nothing else to say. But they don't ever say that it can't be used as money, as a medium of exchange.
Yeah.
So that's why they have to keep saying, well, it's like gold in terms of it being something of intrinsic value. Of course, they never explain where that value comes from.
But even so, time and time again, we have mentioned the intrinsic value that lies in gold. It can be utilized in many instances.
That's right. It's extremely useful. It's
Extremely.
just too expensive for most things.
Yeah, but there is some form of utility to it.
That's right. And BTC has no utility.
Nothing.
It's just this abstract idea.
Oh, actually, there is, Mr. G. It's just a utility vehicle just to rob people, because that's how I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This roller coaster cart. You know, you can get in the cart and you can up and down and ride the wave and get out at the top.
And most of the time, it's riding upside down, because a lot of people are getting thrown off. Because it's not fun to lose your money, or to find that you're investing in something that doesn't have value at all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all the value that you're getting when you have Bitcoin is coming from your neighbors and the people also investing in Bitcoin. It's the idea of the zero-sum game, where the only way you can make money is if somebody else loses money.
Yeah, no, that's dishonest now.
Yeah. I remember, BTC doesn't create value. It's not being used to build anything. All it does is it just reallocates value. It shifts value from one person to the other person.
I'm yet to see any entity with balls just to put up a billboard that states the best way to use BTC is not to use it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm yet to see that.
Yes. So that's a very important thing. You know, we've got people out there who have vested interest in BTC. And the last thing they want anybody to know is that BTC is not actually Bitcoin. They want to leverage off the brand, if you like, the goodwill, they call it, the sort of idea that Bitcoin is a groundbreaking technology. They want to still piggyback off that, even though what they are selling and what they are hodling is got nothing to do with Bitcoin itself.
Yeah. We don't support any form of bootlegs, yo. This is the original. This is the real plug. So remember to subscribe, show some love, yeah? More money on fire. You know, when we look at the social media, the big names, everyone is in support of BTC, Bitcoin. We know that with them, the market decides. So it's a numbers game for them. Like the people decide, basically, the way they put it. Is that really true?
Yeah, the idea that because BTC has the highest price, it means that this is what the people want, and this is what the popular opinion is, that BTC is Bitcoin. Otherwise, surely BSV would be the high value token. Just going back to what we said earlier, that idea of us being all Satoshi. We are all Satoshi. This is what they say. They say that this has got nothing to do anymore with what the inventor decided. This has got to do with us. And the way that BTC proponents will say that what they're doing, there's nothing wrong with it, is that they'll say the market has decided. There are the different versions of Bitcoin out there, and the one with the highest value is BTC, and so that means BTC has won, right? That's what the people wanted. Otherwise, BSV would be worth $60,000 today. So
that's the logic, actually.
That's the logic. They say the people have decided, they've picked BTC as the Bitcoin that they want. They have not picked BCH and they have not picked BSV. So who are you going to argue with? We are all Satoshi. We all get to decide, and it sounds like we've all decided. Now, just because that's the case, just because most people out there are looking at BTC as Bitcoin and the price of BTC is so high, it doesn't mean that it is still Bitcoin. This comes about because of that misunderstanding. Most people investing in Bitcoin today are still believing that it is Bitcoin. They don't understand what has happened in terms of the technical changes that have been made. Just remember that with BTC and Bitcoin and BSV, none of those blockchains have really broken into the mainstream in terms of providing that use case for what it was invented for. The idea of Bitcoin, it's not that PayPal has integrated Bitcoin. None of these apps, none of these services out there, none of these enterprises are using Bitcoin at scale. What they are using is the idea that people are buying BTC, and so the price is going higher, and that's the metric that they are using for success. Because of that, people are not looking at BTC now and saying it doesn't fulfill all the things that we wanted out of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Nobody's using it.
Yeah.
The best way to use BTC is by not using it.
Yeah.
And so we have an entire market, an entire industry out there of people who are pinning their hopes on the idea that Bitcoin eventually is going to become something that is used. And that means it's going to justify its price. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. So that's why all these people out there haven't had a chance to evaluate the different versions of Bitcoin yet. They haven't been put under a test.
Yeah.
Oh, you're calling this cash? Okay, let's see how it functions as cash.
Spend it. Yeah.
With BTC, because they've removed themselves from having to prove any kind of use, any kind of utility, or anything like that, when they use BTC, they either put it onto their hardware wallet or they keep it on the exchange, but nobody's really using it every day to transact with.
Day-to-day transactions.
So that's why it's so easy at this stage to hide under the Bitcoin banner and say, don't worry, one day this is going to be something that is used. Invest now, because eventually when people start using it, the price of your Bitcoin is going to go way high. So get in early, right? So that's why BTC at this stage is so expensive, because everybody's still selling the hype. They're selling the dream. They're saying one day this is going to replace the financial system or replace fiat currency. And when that day eventually happens, you're going to be rich because you're getting in early. So that's why BTC has such a high value, because it's all based on hype and speculation and hopium.
Yeah.
Nothing's been tested yet.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting a chance to say, hang on, this thing doesn't work so well. I can't use it for payments, because that's not the selling point. Right now, it's just about get it in, buy it, and hope and wait. And that's why BTC has such a high value right now, because people are buying into that idea that one day it's going to realize the vision that Satoshi Nakamoto had, which is that it's going to basically replace payments.
So if that is the idea behind it, then why would they push this gold narrative? Because if one day it is going to be a cash system, it should be treated as that now.
That's because it's not a cash system. BTC is the furthest thing away from cash. So they have to change the story and say, guys, it is Bitcoin, but please don't look at the title of the white paper. Please don't see that it says a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, because then that's going to undermine our selling point, which is that it's a peer-to-peer digital gold system. Now they can hide under that. People who are into BTC, who are selling BTC or promoting BTC, they are not selling it as a cash system. They're selling it as a gold system, because it's so much easier than to hide from the reality that this thing doesn't work. Because like you say, don't use it, just ignore it, leave it, buy it, and now just wait, you see?
That would suck, Mr. G, only to find that all the gold that you're investing in is just bronze. It's fake.
Yeah.
Even bronze has some form of utility. It's just the gold painted brick.
Yes, it is a gold painted brick. Although even that can be useful.
Bricks,
keep your door open.
Exactly. Or even build a house from a couple of those. But with this case, BTC is just useless, man.
You can't say the market has decided. The market is fooled. And the market doesn't yet realize that what they are buying and what they're investing in is just, as you say, just a gold-colored brick, this rock that has no use at all, except it looks shiny, and everyone's telling you that it's going to be valuable one day. So just suspend your judgment, stop thinking, just give us your money and walk away and hope.
And Ms. G, I guess also that's the issue with today. Like, there's just a lot of misinformation floating that, people just believe what people with more followers have to say. But we know that, in some cases they are misguided or wrong, but nobody actually calls them out. So yeah, Ms. G, we spoke about BTC being a bootleg from the original. We spoke about all these influences confusing consumers and stuff. But now, how are we going to look at like the legal aspect of it? Because I'm sure there's some form of liabilities to that.
So in any situation, if you are misleading people and you are misrepresenting something that you're creating as something else. If you create shoes and you add a little logo, a Nike swoosh logo there, and you falsely misrepresent your shoe as a Nike shoe, yes, you are going to get into trouble.
Jeez, man, but that's quite scary, Mr. G. On social media, that's like the norm these days. Hence, even BTC is prominent because of that culture.
You can say that everybody who is in crypto, who is promoting BTC as Bitcoin, you can say that they are misrepresenting BTC as Bitcoin, because we've already covered how BTC no longer follows the design of the original Bitcoin according to its inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto. The people who are on the exchanges, who have exchanges and who are promoting BTC, people who are promoting Bitcoin ETFs
as well.
Now we're not just talking about crypto exchanges.
Geez, this is huge, eh?
This is huge. I mean, these are big companies, lots of money. Like we said, BlackRock.
Probably they have the biggest pot, BTC pot, eh?
Everybody who is promoting BTC as Bitcoin is now potentially going to be liable for that, because they are misrepresenting BTC as Bitcoin. There are so many of these promoters, these guys who write books, who do training,
the
people who do documentaries and talk about BTC as Bitcoin. Every one of those people are misrepresenting BTC as Bitcoin. Now, either they are doing it intentionally or they are being negligent. Maybe they know about it and they don't care, or maybe they don't know about it. If you know that BTC does not represent Bitcoin, then you could be liable. So these guys are misrepresenting Bitcoin, and that means there could potentially be legal liabilities.
So yeah, Ms. G, I mean, we spoke earlier on about how much the Bitcoin or BTC symbol holds a lot of weight. I mean, it's in its identity from the white paper. A lot of juicy stuff was attached to it. So I guess
15 years of
hard
brand
work,
building.
You know? So I can see how people like in the BTC space easily leverage from that. There's a bit of weight to the name and the brand.
Absolutely. In a passing off case, we talked about misrepresentation. Goodwill is a very important part of this. Are the people in BTC trying to leverage from the brand, the recognition, the hype that has been built up over the last 15 years on Bitcoin? Now, of course, Bitcoin for 15 years has been in the kind of public consciousness. People have been talking about it. It's been growing. And now to say BTC is still Bitcoin, that's leveraging all that goodwill,
all the legacy
that has been built up over a decade and a half. And so by promoting BTC as Bitcoin, even in spite of the fact that it can't be used as cash, it's not a revolutionary payment system. This is what people believe Bitcoin to be, though. And so even though they are selling something that is not Bitcoin, it's this digital gold thing, they are trying to still borrow from all that goodwill that's been built up over the last decade and a half. And so that is another aspect of passing off. That
you don't move like that, hey?
Nike has spent years building up a brand, and people trust their products. If you go and make a shoe that looks like Nike, you are borrowing from their reputation.
More like jacking.
Yes, you're hijacking their reputation. You're hijacking the goodwill there. Now, can you imagine a person who has no understanding about any of this stuff? They don't know that there are multiple versions of Bitcoin. They just go on, switch on the TV, and whatever face they recognize is talking about Bitcoin, they'll say, right, I'm going to go with that guy.
Straight.
And so the confusion now, it's not that people are saying, all right, let's go and try and evaluate these different versions of Bitcoin. Most people don't even know that there are different versions. And so people are confused. Now, when we're talking about passing off, we've got this product that is misrepresented as Bitcoin. It is something that has created confusion. People are not sure what to think.
Straight up, Ms. G, that is unethical in a sense, because there's a lot of damage to that, like financial damage even.
Yes, that's a very important thing in the passing off case, is the fact that people are now being hurt by this. If you are interested in BSV and you want to have a digital cash system, look at the case of Centbee. We want people to use Bitcoin as cash, the way Satoshi devised it. But when people look at Centbee wallet, they say, hang on, what is this? This is not BTC in this wallet. You guys are calling yourselves Bitcoin, and yet this is a different Bitcoin BSV, like what is that? And so users are not jumping onto Centbee. First of all, because they don't know that Bitcoin is supposed to be cash. They think it's gold. And so why would I want to have a wallet that has high costs of transactions that are unreliable and I have to do Replace-by-fee and all that? Why should I use you guys?
Yeah, because we are like automatically tainted by all the bad stuff from the BTC side.
Tainted as in nobody looks at Centbee wallet as a digital cash wallet because they're saying you guys are using Bitcoin, but we don't believe that it's useful for cash. The fees are so high. So Centbee itself is being damaged because we are trying to realize Satoshi's vision. We want to see a world where people use Bitcoin as day-to-day cash, casual transactions, small transactions. I need to pay you $1. I need to go and buy a stick of gum. I want to buy some electricity, do whatever. By using BTC, I can't do that.
You can't.
Now, when people look at Centbee, we can go on about, Centbee is such a great wallet. You can send money to your friends. You can buy stuff. People are saying, I don't want to spend $5 if I'm going to be making a dollar purchase. Because
that's the understanding connoted to BTC. So already it's like, Bitcoin doesn't work. Bitcoin is not peer-to-peer cash.
Yes, it's digital gold. So we don't want to use Centbee. We don't believe you guys. We think that was a quaint idea once upon a time back in the early days. But Bitcoin is no longer digital cash. So we're not even going to bother with you guys. And also, of course, people who now have a BSV, they are being affected because when we look at the price of Bitcoin today, we look at the price of BTC, it's $60,000, $70,000. And BSV is just a tiny fraction of that.
Nowhere close to
it. That's right. So people who have been working with BSV or own BSV, they are being impacted by this false misrepresentation of BTC as Bitcoin. Because nobody cares about BSV. They just think it's just this knockoff alternative version of Bitcoin. Right now, people who are using the original Bitcoin, who are using BSV, are being negatively affected by this fake BTC Bitcoin. There are real damages. We feel this. We recognize and understand.
I feel it, Mr. Chairman.
Intimately.
All these years we've been trying to, push the narrative aside because we're like, hey guys, this is what like Bitcoin really is. Just sending cash to your friends and family across the world at a fraction, fixing a broken system. That's what really Bitcoin is all about.
Exactly. And this is the reason why we have the show. The reason why we have the Centbee show is because we're trying to explain to people that Bitcoin is not gold. It's not just a speculative asset. It's meant to be digital cash. Something that is cheaper than any other mobile money digital cash system out there. Cheaper than PayPal, cheaper than also these African mobile money wallets like M-Pesa or Airtel. You're spending a couple shillings, let's say in Kenya for an M-Pesa transaction. But if you were using BSV, you would pay 1/100th of a shilling just to make a single transaction. Now, when we go out there and we try and explain to people, use Centbee wallet, it'll bring the costs down, nobody believes us because they're saying, sorry, BTC can't do that. Bitcoin can't do that. We're not BTC. We are Bitcoin. So BSV, the Satoshi Vision version of Bitcoin.
The original.
So there are companies out there that are just not being able to get customer traction because people don't believe that BSV is a low-cost digital cash transactional network. They think that it is just a pipe dream or just this fantasy that Bitcoin can be used for low-cost cash. We are realizing Satoshi's vision. We all often think of ourselves as Satoshi's wallet, what Satoshi wanted, something that was easy to use, that you could just use for day-to-day transactions, send money to your folks, buy something for somebody. So this is the problem that we have. We've got a very real case to be made that BTC is passing itself off as Bitcoin, and the people who are promoting BTC as Bitcoin are passing off as Bitcoin. There is clear misrepresentation. BTC no longer represents the Bitcoin that was created and designed by Satoshi Nakamoto, and yet it still calls itself Bitcoin. It is causing consumer confusion. people, when they look at BTC, they think it's Bitcoin. At this stage, they think, well, it's not peer-to-peer cash anymore, it's digital gold. BTC is leveraging the goodwill of the Bitcoin brand. People were excited about Bitcoin. It was constantly being called this groundbreaking technology, as well as blockchain, something that is the part of the fourth industrial revolution, something that is going to revolutionize payments around the world and transform the world in ways that we can't imagine. And of course, there's been all this damage from people who are either trying to get into the original Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin SV is just a tiny fraction because nobody believes in it. Companies like Centbee, who are trying to leverage Bitcoin SV and show to the world, look what it can do. The world doesn't care. They're not interested in these other alternatives. They want Bitcoin. And so here we have this perfect situation where you can have a legal case against BTC for, in that legal term, passing off BTC as Bitcoin.
This sounds like we really do have a case, Mr. G. In that case, guys, remember to check out the app on the stores, and remember to plug your friends. It's mobile money on fire.
It's not just a theoretical thing now. There's this massive case now that has been launched by none other than Craig Wright. If you want to know more about Craig Wright, we did do our last episode on who is Satoshi, and of course Craig Wright, Dr. Craig Wright, is the most likely candidate in our eyes of who is the real Satoshi. But it's got nothing to do with who is Satoshi. Dr. Craig Wright is now launching a case against the people who promote BTC, and it's a lot of different people. It's exchanges, people who are promoting ETFs, and of course all these influencers. He is saying that all of these people have been passing off BTC as Bitcoin, and he is now creating this lawsuit.
That's good.
And he is now going to be trying to nail all these BTC promoters for falsely misrepresenting Bitcoin.
Nah, Ms. G, the truth always prevails, man.
The amazing thing about this case is that it's $1 trillion lawsuit.
That's a lot of zeros, yo.
That's a lot of zeros. And so it's pretty crazy to think that this thing is going to go ahead. We don't know how it's going to go, but we cannot just overlook this. This is a historical case, $1 trillion lawsuit against the entire crypto industry, just about.
This is history, in fact.
This is history. It's incredible to see Dr. Craig Wright. He is on a mission. He wants to reclaim Satoshi's Bitcoin. He believes in Satoshi's vision. Again, if he's Satoshi or not, it makes no difference. He's trying to make sure that Satoshi's Bitcoin is the Bitcoin that prevails. It's got nothing to do with who he is and his identity.
Initially, he has stated that he doesn't care about the fame, the money, and all of that.
No, he just wants Satoshi's Bitcoin to be finally realized and accepted and appreciated around the world, as do we. So we're very excited about this. We've been fighting for BSV the whole way. So we're going to be very interested to see how this case pans out.
Like the most expensive lawsuit.
I'm sure it's a world record, right? So whatever you think, it's going to be darn exciting to see how this thing pans out. And we'll be watching here on the sidelines. Maybe we'll be embroiled in it somehow.
We are already.
We are plaintiffs too, We feel like we've been damaged by this false perception of BTC being Bitcoin. And so actually we're rooting for this case, and we're excited to see how it's going to be played out. Obviously it's not going to happen in an instant, probably going to take years to get through the system.
But eventually, Mr. G, that truth is going to come out.
So we're going to see how it pans out. But if you just go and look at the case about BTC not being Bitcoin, passing off as Bitcoin, it's pretty clear to us. It looks like this could be something that really makes a huge impact on the whole crypto industry. And it's going to be, something special to see.
Anyway, I'm glad to be part of that history, man. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. You know what? Everybody in BSV, if you guys are interested in Bitcoin SV and you're fighting for Satoshi's vision, you're in the war with us. You're a Satoshi soldier. And so this is something that is going to be historical, that you are going to be a part of and a witness to. And maybe in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years time, we'll be able to reflect back when all this was going on and in some way feel proud that we were part of the story.
I can bet on that, man. I'm betting the farm on that.
Exactly right. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting for Satoshi's vision. What helps is if you like and subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. Our agenda really is to fight for Satoshi's vision. We want to see a world where people use Bitcoin as digital cash. We also want to see a world where people use Centbee to spend their digital cash. And so we're going to be here. We're going to be fighting this war. We're going to be here every single week, bringing you more information about Satoshi and what he wanted when he created Bitcoin.
Straight up.
Educating you, trying to cut through all the false myths and false narratives that are being handed out to us on all the social networks and all the financial news channels.
They'll force down our throats.
Yes, we want to be a machete to that and chop all that down. So that's what our job is. We get a lot of encouragement from our audience, and every time you guys leave us comments, which we're going to get to in a second, we really appreciate them. People are getting value out of this show. It makes us want to get back into the studio every week and do another one. So we want to thank you guys for your continued support.
Straight up, Ms. G. With that being said, this week's user questions and feedback. Our first one comes from Diana Curtis, and she's saying, love 100%. Thank you guys for a great show.
Pleasure, Diana. It's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, man.
It makes our hearts warm.
And our second one comes from JL3268. They're saying the only Bitcoin is BSV 100%.
Exactly. That is the only Bitcoin. BTC ain't Bitcoin. BCH ain't Bitcoin. Bitcoin Gold's not Bitcoin. If you want Satoshi's Bitcoin, there is only one, and that's BSV.
Straight up. You heard it from Mr. Geo. Our third one comes from Zekodian. I think it's a Czech name. It's a pretty difficult.
Zechodzian. Zechodzian.
Our third one comes from Zechodzian.
I like it.
They saying you deserve far more views and subscribers, yo.
Oh, thanks, man. We do deserve them, Kage. We put so much effort into these shows. But this is the journey we're on. You know, you can't just be huge overnight. We've got to put in the proof of work, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing it. We are working our way up. Our subscribers are growing.
Yeah, Mr.
We are around the corner from that magic number 1,000.
Yeah.
When we get that 1,000, we're gonna put together some videos behind the scenes, some bloopers. This is the journey we're on, is to grow our subscriber base.
Straight up, yo. Thanks for the love, guys.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, our last one comes from one of our regulars. Yo, BSV Godfather. They saying nobody is Satoshi except for Craig Wright.
Yes, we are not all Satoshi. When somebody says that, just know that they just want to go and steal the prestige and all the goodwill of Satoshi Nakamoto. We are not Satoshi. We didn't design Bitcoin. We didn't invent Bitcoin. There is only one Satoshi Nakamoto, and I think BSV Godfather's onto something there.
Straight up, and that's just major credit to claim, man. So yeah, we are sticking to Satoshi's soldier. We are sticking to Satoshi's soldiers, and that fits perfect for us. Then being, the Satoshi.
Yes, but we are all Satoshi soldiers.
Straight up. Yeah, Ms. G, I think we've come to the end of our show.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, Kage. Yeah, so this show, we wanted to just highlight this idea that BTC is passing off itself as Bitcoin, at least the promoters. Now, what we've done, the whole show that we have here is talking about how BTC is different, but this is slightly more important because it's not just saying that BTC is different from Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There is actually a legal issue here with passing off. The fact that BTC promoters are passing off BTC as Bitcoin is a legal issue. There are legal ramifications to that. And if you are promoting BTC as Bitcoin, you are misleading people. You are leveraging the goodwill of Bitcoin, and there are damages. The problem here is not just a philosophical one. This is a legal issue. And of course, it's not just a theory. There is now a $1 trillion lawsuit against people who are falsely representing Bitcoin BTC as the original Bitcoin. So you don't want to be on that side of the battle. You don't want to be on that side of the war.
Nah.
You want to have the moral high ground.
Straight up.
And of course, BTC has the very moral low ground. So we want to thank you all for tuning in today to the Centbee Show. Please come back soon.